What's going on, everyone? I'm Keith Beavers, Tastings Director of VinePair, and today we're going to highlight two of the wines from our top Pinot Grigio of 2023. But first, before we do anything, please subscribe. There's right there, there's right there. Just go ahead and do it. So Pinot Grigio, as we say on the best of list, which we'll put a link for, it's Italian. Pinot Grigio, it's Italian, but Grigio means gray in Italy. In France, Gris means gray, and Pinot Gris or Grigio is a French variety. This is an Albert Boxler 2020 Pinot Gris. 2020, it's got some age on it. That's pretty interesting. This is a Vin d'Alsace Pinot Gris from the Alsace region of France. This guy left Alsace and actually was in Montana, loving the Montana life. His first vintage was literally in 1946. So the war ended, he came back, he started working the farm, and then 1946 vintage came out. It's pretty amazing. Today, his grandson, Jean Boxler, is running the game and is carrying on the family legacy. So that was a little brief introduction to the wine. Let's go ahead and give it a pour. It's not 100% white because Pinot Grigio, Pinot Gris, meaning gray, the grape is not 100% white. It's kind of like almost a red wine grape, but not really. Oh my God. Can I just have a second for this wine, please? Now, the thing about Pinot Gris, Pinot Grigio, is you're not always guaranteed to have a ton of complexity and aromas, but this one, it's talking to you. This is a very expressive example of this variety. To say that this wine is balanced on the nose is an understatement. There's a wonderful saline quality on the nose. When I say saline, it's like a mineral. It's like grabbing a rock out of a babbling brook and just smelling that minerality. It's there, it's in the wine, and kind of wrapped around that salinity is a really subtle but very beautiful honeyed character. And within that is this nice aroma of sliced pear. Not just pear, sliced pear. You know, you slice a pear, you smell it, oh my gosh, that smells so fresh and good. All that just on the nose for a Pinot Gris. Okay, let's taste it. Oh! This wine, for a white wine, has more depth than a lot of white wines out there. There's a nice weight on the palate. That honey note carries over from the nose into the palate. That saline quality you get on the nose is still there, but it kind of calms down a little bit, and the honey kind of comes in and says, it's my turn. But it doesn't overwhelm the palate because the acidity on this wine is just perfect. It's not the kind of acidity that lifts the wine so much that it makes it a very light, neutral wine. It's the kind of acidity that kind of like holds up the weight of the wine, saying, yeah, you can enjoy the weight of this palate, but I'm not going to let it overwhelm and keep the wine refreshing. It's a very refreshing wine. It's very complex, and it has a little age on it, so that's where you get more of that complexity. The wine's kind of hanging out with itself for a little bit. As the wine ages, new aromas come out, and that's what we're experiencing here. Because of everything I said, and because of its age-worthiness, I gave this wine a 92. Go ahead and read the review. Reviews are fun. The second wine I want to highlight is a Pinot Grigio, but not from Italy. Still, we're outside of Italy, and that's totally cool. What's interesting about this wine says Pinot Grigio on the label, but it's from California. In the US, you'll see wines labeled Pinot Gris and Pinot Grigio. The styles we're used to from both of these styles of this one variety are very different. So in the United States, when you see Pinot Gris, you're probably going to get a more deep wine like we just talked about. When you see Pinot Grigio, they're not trying to make an Italian white wine, but the result of their wine kind of gives that freshness that you get from a Pinot Grigio that you're used to. This wine comes from way up Northern California, Mendocino County. Something to know about these guys. They've been around since 1974, before AVAs were even in existence, before American viticultural areas even were around. And what's really unique about this winemaker is if you go online and check their website out, their website looks like it's still in 1998. It's a very, very basic website. And what's very interesting is they only sell wine out of their tasting room and, wait for it, by phone. The old school way their website looks, the old school way in which they sell wine, what's wonderful about that is what's important to this winemaker and their team is the wine. Man, man, man. What's cool about this wine is it's actually an American Pinot Grigio. It's its own style, which is so wonderful. The cool thing about this nose is it has a hint of sweetness, not like really sweet, but just like this little pop of spearmint. It's so beautiful. It has amazing minerality. You can tell it's refreshing immediately when you smell it. There's a slight hint of like tropical note, which means just any kind of tropical, just think tropical fruit, that beautiful kind of like zippy sweetness of tropical fruit. Oh my God. The palate has a slight grip to it, and that's so cool because Pinot Grigio can have a slight grip to it. It might have just a little bit of tannin, and this wine has a nice frame to it. It's a little bit grippy, which is really, really good, and all those tropical fruits and that sort of sweet vibe is there, but it's held up by blousy acidity, meaning it's just, like a blouse. It's vibrant, it balloons, it blossoms through the wine. This might be one of the best Pinot Grigio examples from the US. It is absolutely spectacular. And this is the kind of Pinot Grigio when you sip and drink and try this wine, I had to give it a 92. So check out our full list of all 15 Pinot Grigio that we fell in love with in the link below. But today we talked about Albert Boxler, a Pinot Gris from Alsace, where it's from. And then this wild Pinot Grigio from Anderson Valley that's named Pinot Grigio because of its light nature and one of the best examples on the US market, in my opinion. I'm Keith Beavers. I'll see you next time.